Good morning, everyone. How is everyone? I am excited because number one, this morning I found out I aced my final for my criminal justice class, got a perfect A plus. And secondly, because I've been waiting for weeks and James H. Nace over on Dead Meat just released a new video and it was for one of my favorite movies. So I am having a good morning. I am excited. So where is everybody? I feel like I was a minute early and nobody's in here. Where are you? Good morning, David. How are you? Hi, Narha. I'm not sure how to say that. I'm really sorry sometimes if I pronounce names wrong. I really try. But for those of you that are new, I'm Amanda, and this is just something we do every other Friday to give everyone space to talk about their mental health wins, the challenges they've been experiencing, or ask mental health related questions. Just want to remind everyone that I am not a mental health professional, so any advice I give is just based on my experience and the experiences of others. If you are in a mental health crisis, please make sure that you are reaching out and getting the help that you deserve. The community is here for social and moral support. I'm really excited to, yes, Wolfie is grumpy, David. I'm really excited to share with you guys. So every week or every time we do this, I have a goal of raising $250 in pledges using the super chat or super sticker function. By the way, that also highlights your message. You can get kind of crazy in here. So I'll for sure see your message if you use those functions. All the money goes toward my mental health outreach, but I wanted to share with you guys a couple of the things that I've done since last time with those pledges. One of the things was there was a 14-year-old of someone that I met who was getting really bullied and hadn't spoken to their parents about it or anything. So this had been going on for almost 2 years. This young person had been being bullied. And not only did we managed to talk her into getting into treatment and covered that because her dad is very low income and wasn't able to cover the costs of that. We were able to cover a month of treatment until he can try and get things stabilized. But we're able to connect her with a couple of individuals, including Sean Kanan and organizations that can help empower her. Of course, I invited her to the community here in the Discord to be able to get support and build back up that self-esteem, because it can be so destructive when we experience that. I was bullied and it's really hard. Thank you so much, Mick. Thank you. David, what's going on over here? It's already, hey, all the annoying one. Oh, you are not the annoying one, aviation fan. David says, you have to work harder to be annoying. That's my job. Y'all are adorable. Nobody is annoying me here. But thank you so much, Mick, for pledging toward that. I guess I should get out my little handy dandy notebook, like we're back on Blue's Clues, so I can keep track here to see how close we get. And also, there was a woman who was being stalked. She's in her 30s. She was being stalked, and I know what that's like too, because I've had stalkers, and it's incredibly terrifying, and you feel like you're just constantly looking over your shoulder. And thanks to the help here in the community, enrolled her in self-defense classes and got her a Kubaton. So she is feeling a lot safer. She just started the classes late last week. So she's only taken 2 so far, but she said even after the first 2 classes, she has felt so much more empowered and she feels a lot safer because now she knows some things that she can do if she finds herself in a frightening situation. So that is where the pledges from the last stream went to. So thank you guys so much for allowing me to do this. Like I said, it's very, very rewarding to be able to continue branching out with our community and continue helping more and more people. Hello, Edward. I'm the flamingo girl today. Indeed, I am. Matthew says, I'm currently in the backseat of a car between 2 states, New York and Massachusetts, trying to look for my own safety. The one who raped me at age 10 was let out on parole from prison. That sounds like I was just talking about that. That's extremely frightening because I know you have a history with this person. I would suggest getting yourself to a place where you feel safe, both physically and mentally. So if that means leaving the state, if that means leaving that area, do that. So I'm glad you're being proactive about that. But also, as I was talking about with this woman that we were helping, make sure that you're empowering yourself so that you feel safe, even if something, if you were to have confrontation with this person, you would have more of an opportunity to defend yourself. I was sexually assaulted when I was 16, and that was one of the things that really helped me. Is now I know if I did have an altercation with that person, I could defend myself. I could reasonably fight that person off. But I know that can be very scary. Either way, I found out that my assailant was working a couple of miles away from me. And this happened when I was 16, 3.5 hours away from here. And he ended up just in the same zip code, which is really unnerving. But there's a lot of things that you can do to empower yourself. Oh my gosh, Bobby, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We're definitely going to hit our goal today. I think that undoes Edward's pledge of earlier. So, oh my God, thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, this is just such a good morning. Oh, so much good energy, so much love. Thank you. Thank you. I don't even know what I was saying now. That was very kind. But yes, make sure that that's what I was saying, that we're empowering ourselves so that if we do find ourselves in a precarious situation, we feel more ready to handle it. And I feel like that goes into a lot of other mental health things as well. That's why exposure therapy and stuff is so effective, is because you learn how to cope with, say, a panic attack in a moment that doesn't feel as threatening. So that way, if a threatening moment does happen, then we are better able to deal with it. Oh my gosh. We already hit our goal and we're not even 10 minutes in. Thank you, Rick. Oh my gosh, I don't even have to keep track anymore. We already hit our goal. That doesn't mean stop pledging, because that this allows us to do more and more. But you guys are so amazing. Oh, that's what I was saying. So Edward had pledged $50 for me to not sing the Snap Cup song this week. And I was going to say, we all need to pledge against him, because I love my Snap Cup song. So we have to pledge against Edward so we can keep the song, because I'd be a little heartbroken if we didn't get to have it. How can we have our wins if we don't have our Snap Cup song? Oh, Middlemark says, I liked your Megadeth sweating bullets reaction. Your facial expressions were priceless. I'm just glad that my face wasn't too paralyzed, because I've had dental surgery and I was really afraid of doing a reaction, because I said, what if my face is just, or you can't see my expressions and I'm kind of like Joan Rivers. So I was a little paranoid about that. But oh my gosh, I had to overcome my own limiting beliefs after I released that video, because somebody had posted that the statistics for 1% of the world population is 78 million. And I know that. I brought it up a couple weeks ago on stream. I knew that. But in the video, I said thousands of people. And it was one of those things that I woke up at 2 a.m. to go to the bathroom and went, oh my gosh, I said thousands instead of millions. And I felt so dumb. It was like the time when I was here on stream and referred to Paris as a country. We all make mistakes. And I had to really take a step back and say, okay, nobody's out there thinking you're stupid, Amanda. You're a very educated person. Still have my 4.0 right now. So, I really had to combat those limiting beliefs of, oh my God, you're so stupid. The whole internet's going to think you're stupid. Our whole community is going to think you're stupid. I had to really sit down and combat those limiting beliefs, and thought, maybe they'll just think it's charming. I mean, my community, those of you that know me, I hope, know that I'm not ignorant. I consider myself to be pretty well educated. Man, when I first caught that, when I had that pointed out, I was beating myself up so hard. I still am working on allowing myself to make mistakes and not be perfect. Thank you, JD. JD says, I just wanted your thoughts. I deal with agoraphobia a little bit and was wondering what are some good tactics to deteriorate it. Thanks, Amanda. When I lost my mom in 2007, I struggled with agoraphobia, where I could not go more than a few minutes away from my house without completely panicking. And I couldn't hold a job. It was very difficult for me. And I think Edward can speak to this too, who I think is still in here. Yes, Edward. I think Edward can speak to this too. We were just talking about exposure therapy. That's what I had to start doing was, okay, first, I'm just going to go outside and kind of take a little walk around. At the time I lived in an apartment complex. I'm just going to walk around my apartment complex. Then I'm just going to go next door to the grocery store, because it was literally walking distance right next door, and get a decaf Starbucks or something, because they had decaf chai at that one. So it was just taking steps to deal with it. And I do have a video. David, can you post the link to that, please? Where I talk about my exposure therapy to some of my traumas. But that was what was really effective for me in starting to be able to overcome that. And I also would take comfort items with me. So I would take, guys are probably going to giggle at me, but I have a stuffed rabbit that I got when I was born. His name is Hooker, named after TJ Hooker, the TV star that William Shatner played in a police show back in the 80s, I think, maybe 90s. But I had this bunny and I put him in the passenger seat with me because it gave me that connection to my parents, my comfort. Or sometimes I had a little green Afghan that my mom had given me when she went to nursing school and told me that if I ever needed a hug from her to use that. So I would put that around me while I was driving, and I just kind of start incrementally driving further and further away. And now, I mean, I can drive several hours. I can fly overseas, and I still have a wee bit of anxiety on that one, depending on the flight. I can still get anxiety in traveling long distances like that, but I had to just work at it gradually instead of saying, okay, I'm going to overcome this tomorrow. That's not really how that works. So I just had to kind of work on that. David, thank you. Oh, David pledged to say, don't miss Narha question. What should I do with the voices in my head? Well, I think that the voices in my head reaction gave kind of a great insight. Thank you for that, David, by the way. Gave a great insight to that it really depends. I mean, if you are actually hearing voices, then clearly that is something that needs to be addressed through mental health treatment, through professionals or a mental health professional. But I'm assuming you're just meaning like the tapes in our head, the 1,000 tabs that are always open, that shadow that is trying to tear us down and weaken us. And in that case, I mean, there's a lot of things to do. The thing that I really still work on, is when I have, for me, it's the negative voices. Like, it can get frustrating when there's a lot of different thoughts coming up at once. Because like I said, I always have 100 tabs open in my head. So to deal with that, I've been doing more meditation, just more mindfulness activities. And that doesn't even mean you have to do yoga or you have to do something like that. It just means that if you're eating your meal, eat your meal. Don't eat your meal in front of the TV. Don't feel like you have to do 500 other things. Just sit and drink your cup of tea, sit and eat your meal, and start implementing more of that. So instead of sitting there drinking a coffee while playing on your phone, while reading something, just try and be more mindful. That really helped. As far as the negative voices, that's something I address a lot in my Happiness Boost course, which is the Happiness 101 class you never had that all of us deserve. And I just lowered the price of that. I know I mentioned that in the Megadeth video, but I lowered the price of that for everyone because I want everyone to be able to have the opportunity to go through that, because that was what helped me. And there is a lot in there about those limiting beliefs and those voices. But I think that one of the major things was I had to pinpoint the thoughts that were coming up the most, like the limiting beliefs that were coming up the most. A lot of mine were about perfection, physically and mentally. Some of them were about my self-worth. So I'd write down these thoughts that were coming up, and then I'd come up with counter thoughts. So for the dark thoughts, I'd list them out, and then I'd come up with counter thoughts to address those or to kind of flip those. That actually helped with my recurring nightmare that I was having too, is I had to write out kind of the opposite scenario of what was happening in my nightmare. And then I'd read that every night before bed. And eventually Jesse Pinkman came and beat the crap out of Olaf. Don't ask. Yes, the snowman. Don't ask. I made a video about it a while back. But actually, that was in my exposure therapy video where I was talking about that. So I think David posted the link to that. Thank you, David. And that helps there. So yeah, I would highly suggest doing things more mindfully. And even if it's watching a TV show, watch the TV show. Be present with that TV show. Don't watch the TV show while you're texting, while you're trying to do your homework. And that's okay sometimes to multitask, but try to incorporate activities that allow you to be really mindful. Oh, David, gosh, thank you so much. I know there's a lot going on right now, and there's a lot of conversation, so I will try to catch as much as I can here. But Oh, yes, Edward was chiming in. I will come back to Corey, I promise. Edward was chiming in that there's no one action that will overcome challenges of any kind. You have to take multiple steps: exposure therapy, exercise, therapy, community, diet, etc. Exactly, and that is what I outline in my course. I think I should just call it Happiness 101, but the Happiness Boost course. And it's named that way because no matter where you are with your mental health, it will help elevate you. It'll help bring you up on your own happiness spectrum. But it goes over my 5 puzzle pieces, the things that had to be in place for me, and it incorporates a lot of these things for me to move forward, for me to really start healing. So, okay. David says for Corey says, I know a lot of people who take psych meds. They work for some people, not me. Unfortunately, I stopped taking them about 8 years ago. I felt way better since stopping. Is that the message that you wanted me to see, David? I very much agree. Oh, I do have a psych diagnosis, he says. I agree with that. From my own personal experience, there are people that very much benefit from medication, but I think that we very much over medicate in this country. Where I remember when my mom passed away and they tried to put me on antidepressants, which don't work for me either, by the way, partially because medication does not really address borderline personality disorder, which is what I was diagnosed with. It can address some of the symptoms like the anxiety and stuff, but it doesn't address the disorder itself. It actually made it worse for me, much worse. It would give me crippling panic attacks, even if I took the children's doses. I know I've talked about this before, but psych meds didn't work for me either. And I really wish that we would be promoting the other things that affect mental health so that we're not jumping right to medication to deal with anxiety or mild to moderate depression. I think in many cases, lifestyle changes and other implementations can be as effective. And that's not just my opinion. Science, has very much backed that up. Research has backed that up, that there's a lot of things that are just as effective as prescription medication without the side effects, which is wonderful. And I talk about a lot of those. I list a lot of those pretty frequently. Oh, Nahar has to go. Thank you for stopping by. We will see you soon, hopefully. Corey says, I'm grateful I made it home. Best friends and days of my life. We're happy you made it home too. I'm making sure I didn't miss anything else with Corey there that David was referring to. Oh, okay. Corey up here says also, I'd love to donate. I'm a disabled American veteran from Desert Shield Storm. I can barely feed myself. Sad, huh? But I like your channel and reaction videos. That is not sad at all. I'm really sorry that you are not getting the help that you deserve after having sacrificed for us and for our country. I see you and I appreciate the sacrifice. Thank you very much for all that you've given and all that you've done. And there are a lot of genuine people here in the community who are also veterans who can help. I can also provide you with one of my veteran contacts. His name is Lee. I can provide you with that, and he can help connect you with the people and organizations who will actually help, because let's be real, some of them, like the VA, aren't always the most effective or efficient people. So I'd be happy to connect you with him and connect you with some other people here in the community that can be here for you. Although I see Nick and Rick and a few other people are Nick and Rick. I love it. Nick and Rick and a few other people are connecting with you. So please, guys, make sure that you're exchanging information if you can in private and supporting each other. Before we go too much further, I wanted to do the win for the week. Not the win for the week, I'm sorry, the good news for the week. We always like to share a good news story just to make sure that all of our vibes are a little up, that we can elevate our vibes a little bit. So this is a news story from BBC. It says supermarket trolleys, what we know as shopping carts, reveal heart problems in shoppers. Supermarket trolleys with a special sensor fitted to the handles can help spot a hidden heart rhythm condition that increases the risk of stroke, a trial has found. Researchers in Liverpool asked local stores to stock the modified trolleys, which scan customers' grip pulses for any irregularities while they shop. More than 2,000 shoppers used them, and during the 2 months of the study, 39 people were newly identified as having atrial fibrillation, which is AFib or AF. They were referred on to see a heart doctor for advice. I think that this is awesome because AFib is when the heart beats irregularly or chaotically, and the heart muscles aren't relaxing between contractions. So that can cause a lot of problems. And while people with AF might notice the irregularities, you might just think, oh, I'm stressed out, I'm having anxiety, so you might not take it seriously. I actually had to go get checked out. I do have a heart condition. It's not AF, but I did have a heart condition where I have palpitations, and it's just not just an arrhythmia, but it's an arrhythmia, and they're monitoring it. But it can be very serious, and some people have no symptoms at all. So I think implementing things like this so we can catch it for people that either aren't having symptoms or ignoring their symptoms, I think is a really beautiful thing, because my mom passed away from a heart attack, from heart failure. She didn't really know, because AF can increase blood clots, which can lead to death. Unfortunately, it can lead to stroke, it can lead to death. So I think this is really awesome, and it just made me think of my mom, and made me think of all the other moms, all the other people that we can save, that we can prevent from going too soon. My mom was only 60 when she passed, and that was way too soon. She still had so much life in her, and I think she would have loved the community. I think she would have been popping her head in the door all the time going, hi guys, even though YouTube wasn't really, it was still in its infancy when she was still alive. But I just think that she would have been so excited for the community and for all of you. It would have been very, very adorable. I can just hear it. Oh, good. CP368 production says, now I'm part. I don't know. Do we need to pledge more to combat Edward's $50 pledge against my song? You jerk face. Like, how could you do this to me? We might need to pledge a little bit more to combat this before we have the Snap Cup song here in a few minutes, or no song. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? We still doing this song? Do we have to listen to Edward? Do we have to pledge more? What do you think? David says, I'm sure your mom is watching all of your live streams. Do they get internet? Is there Wi-Fi in the great beyond? Or is it just eternal Wi-Fi that doesn't ever cut out on you? Oh, Jake says, just do it anyways. I feel like I missed so many messages. Void says, a caged animal will suffer severe mental dysfunction. It's true. And I feel that a lot of times we put ourselves in a cage, and we keep ourselves there, and we prevent ourselves from actually experiencing the world. And in many cases, it can be to anxiety or other things, but we close ourselves off. And then, of course, we start having these dysfunctions. Oh, Rick says, I'm going to start handing my email again. Yeah, I will absolutely connect you to Corey. Corey, if you want to email me, my email is in the description. Then I will connect you with Rick. Rick, can you email me again too, just so I have your email readily available and I don't have to sift through a million emails for it. CP368 says, I missed the post to share our wins. Oh, we got our first win. I'll at least do some snaps here. So yes, I'll do the wins here in a minute. But if you have wins to share, then you can absolutely post them here, and I will still give snaps. Actually, you know what? Let's just jump right into it. David says, I'll record the song and send it to Edward. I love it. Yes, Jake, I still have Facebook. I'm not on there a lot, but the Happiness Boost course does come with a lifetime membership to my private Facebook group, where I do weekly Q&As and stuff for people who are in the course. So I do still have Facebook. I just don't use it much personally. I use it mostly for that. So I think we should still do the song. And David can send it to Edward from 50 different emails, so he can't ignore it. And then we'll just have it blasted from the loudspeakers. We'll do it 80s style, and we'll record it and then put it on a CD and then stand outside Edward's window with a boombox and play the Snap song. I like this idea. Oh, Edward's leaving. Phooey on you. Okay, well, I'm going to sing it real fast. So, snap cup time, gather ye round. friends and foes together, united and bound. Pass it to your neighbor instead of blowing up, and you'll find harmony and love in a snap cup. Alrighty, hopefully we got that in really fast before Edward left. So let me go back real fast and do CP368's win. It says, a week ago, the girl who caused my PTSD walked right by me on purpose. The call to the police finally led to the cops considering her the threat instead of me. Big snaps to you for getting the justice that you deserved on that. Alrighty. So Crazy Hawk says, I started researching the process to help people in my community. That's amazing. Big snaps for you. What kind of outreach are you looking to do? I'm really excited to hear more about that. The big snaps to you. A lot can be gained from helping others. You know, it not only obviously lifts these people's spirits, but it also lifts our own. And we also find ourselves in a better mental state after we have done these positive things for our community, because we're making the world a little bit better. And that's what I always say is I just want to leave the world a better place than I found it. If I have to leave it, I'd like to leave it better than I found it. Oh, Ryan, you still in here, Ryan? Oh, hi, Jamie. Ryan says, you know what they say, laughter's the best medicine. I watched You, Me, and the movies last week on Ground Guidance. We talk about different things. We were talking about aliens. Man, did we have a good time. Really lifted my spirits. Sometimes we all need a good laugh. Absolutely true. Big snaps to you for just being able to laugh and have a good time and get those feel-good hormones going, get some dopamine going. Laughing is so good. It really is. I try to frequently find reasons to just laugh at nothing. There's actually, I think it's called, there's laughter yoga, and then there's like laughter meditation. And they used to have those here locally. They used to have little meetup groups for that. And I always wanted to go to them and never got the chance. So maybe I'll look into that, because I feel like there's only so many comedies and stuff. I'm not really a movie person. So I like thinking outside the box for different ways to incorporate these positive things in my life. That way I don't get bored either. Although I did start watching a show. I don't have a lot of time to watch it, but I watch an episode here and there, and it's been pretty, for the most part, it's actually kind of surprisingly motivating, but it's also funny. But it's had a couple serious moments that have really, really hit me deep. Oh, Bobby says, gotta go watch a stream later. Thank you so much, Bobby, for supporting our outreach and our efforts. I couldn't be doing as much in the community without you guys, and I'm glad that we get to continue helping people. By the way, I had someone ask recently about the pledges and whether or not I vet people before helping them. And in most cases, just to answer your question, in actually all the cases so far, it's not that I just give people money. It's that in the case of the woman who was being stalked and stuff, I just directly paid for those classes so that she could attend those. So I just directly paid for that. And when I do therapy, I directly pay the therapist or directly pay for the medication. So good question. I understand that we can all be a bit skeptical, and I just wanted to address that. Okay, so the Scorpio says, my new clinic stepped up for me to assist and aid with getting new dentures in the near future. Got the appointment booked and all, and my mom did something nice for me recently. I would say my win is being reminded what it's like to have people in my corner. I find that feeling easy to forget, especially the older I get. It's a nice feeling when it comes back around. Snaps to you for being able to get your new dentures. I know that you'll feel fantastic. I remember when my mom got her new dentures and she was so happy. You could just see the difference in her ambiance, her facial expression, her smile just radiated at that point because she used to try and hide it. She was ashamed of her old dentures because they hadn't been updated in a long time. So she was always very ashamed, and she'd cover her mouth when she laughed, and she was very self-conscious. And I remember how much her energy shifted after that. And I'm very happy that your mom did something nice for you. And you're right, it is beautiful when we're reminded that we have people in our corner, and it can sometimes, when we're in the darkness, feel like we don't, because our shadow is going to say nobody cares about you, nobody loves you. But that's not true. If you're in here, we love you and we care about you, and we care if your light goes out. So you are never, ever, ever, ever alone. Again, you do have people that care about you, but it can be easy to forget sometimes if you are really struggling in that dark place. So big snaps to the Scorpio. I am great, Warrior Poet. How are you? And no worries about being late. You come whenever you want. Jake Smith says, got to watch a Hard Day's Night with Ken. Interesting to watch a Beatles film. Also got back into gaming after 2 months of sports watching. Game of choice is Horizon Forbidden West. Really interesting game so far. I have no context to the game, but I am glad that you got to relax, watch a movie, and that you are doing things that you enjoy, that you're connecting to things that you enjoy, and hopefully being mindful and being present with those things and really connecting with them. So big snaps to you for being able to do that. Graybeard Droning. These names are appearing super weird to me now. It stopped displaying the names like I see here. Now I'm getting Graybeard Droning - Mersey Side Bay. But I'm just going to go with Graybeard Droning. Says, my win is overcoming a mini stroke. Wow. Beating depression and alcohol and pushing on for a better life. Still have mental blocks sometimes as my memory has rapidly declined, but I try and keep my mind as active as possible by my new love of flying drones. That explains the name. Not giving up, but keeping going. I love it. There's so much there. Big snaps to you for overcoming that mini stroke. I know that can also be very frightening. Big snaps to you for beating the depression and the alcohol and healing and letting go of those vices or those patterns that we fell into, and being able to overcome something that can be very, very challenging. But in the part where you're saying you still have mental blocks sometimes and your memory has been declining, first and foremost, iron can be very helpful with that. And B12. But we all have mental blocks. I have mental blocks. I mean, come on. I said that 1% of 7 billion people was thousands, all right? We all have our brain farts. We all have our mental blocks. So the times where I'm just going, I forgot this really common word right now. I can't think of the word computer right now. We all have that. I don't think it's really an age thing. I think that sometimes we just get so fired up or so in a flow that then we just lose a word. So our basal ganglia and our parietal lobes are not firing properly to give us the language that we need. But yes, big snaps to you for all of that. And it's good to keep your mind active, but also remember to give your mind breaks here and there. And it sounds like the flying drones and stuff can provide that. Alrighty. Rick James says, prescription painkiller addiction gone for 6 years, also cigarette free for almost 5 years. That's a lot of snaps, big snaps. I always love to hear when people quit smoking, and of course when people overcome addiction and stuff. That's huge. It's great for our healing. It's great for our journey. So big snaps to you. I know that that's been a very difficult journey, and I'm very proud of you. Hi, Zach. Joseph Riccio, Arizona says, my win is I'm glad to see a post from Amanda. Aw, I just recently found this channel, was a little worried to not see anything in a couple weeks. Just reading the supportive comments is helping me through a difficult time, and I'd hate to lose that. You see this, guys? You see what we're doing? So I'm going to say snaps for Joseph for being able to find the channel and be part of the community here and start entrenching himself in the comments and stuff and getting so much support. But snaps to the community also for providing it, for being there for people, and for connecting. And I think that's something that a lot of people are missing in today's society, is just that connection. That's what the community is here for. So Joseph, I'm very happy that you've found comfort and belonging here on the channel and in the comments. We do have a very loving community. So I'm very happy for that, and I hope that you will stick around. And just for the record, I can go a couple weeks. I don't have a schedule. I can be pretty inconsistent. So I hope you guys still love me for it. I would love to be able to have a consistent schedule. I'm going to release a video every Tuesday, but right now with everything going on, I'm just, I'm not there. I just have a lot on my plate, so I'm releasing as frequently as I can. I'm shooting for once a week, but I don't know what day that is. And as you've seen, sometimes that ends up turning into a couple weeks. And part of it is just, I get into the flow of all of the things in my life. I'm okay. I'm doing my homework. I'm doing this. I spent time with Bryce and I made some content. And then next thing I know, it's 2 weeks later. I'm going, wait, what? I don't understand how this time passed. So you can always reach out to me, or you can check in through email or something. But yeah, I just don't have a regular posting schedule. I'm not your typical YouTuber. This ain't your mama's YouTube channel. I'm just kidding. Maybe it is your mama's YouTube channel. The Nuggy5417 says, I didn't die yet, which is honestly a win in itself. That's a huge win. I'm very happy you're still here. I'm very proud of you. I know that sometimes just staying alive can be the most challenging thing in our lives. So I'm very proud of you, and big snaps to you for being here. Please let us know if you need someone to talk to, if there's something that you're needing or that you're struggling with. We'd love to help you in any way that we can. Matthew Azaria says, I recently showed my family The Peanut Butter Falcon. It is a movie that deconstructs the use of a derogatory slur commonly used in relation to the mental health stigma, specifically the word retard, and does by showing how much it can hurt someone who doesn't know that the word is a reflection of its user's own ugly sense of self-entitlement and self-expression. Well, I'm glad that you showed that to your family, and I hope that it helped start conversation with them about it. I think things like this are great in helping with the stigma, although I wouldn't come at it from a sense of it's the user's sense of self-entitlement and self-expression. I mean, obviously it is a form of expression because it's verbal, but I don't think it's necessarily entitlement, because many people just don't realize how much of a sting that word can come with. There are words that we have societally accepted are wrong, but that one just hasn't completely reached the corners of society yet. Not everyone even knows that that word is wrong or offensive. I've come across quite a few people who just don't realize it's wrong or offensive because it became so colloquial for a while that some people just don't realize it's offensive. And I've had people that have used it, and when I just gently say, hey, this is what that means to me, or this is how it makes me feel, then that person will, oh, I had no idea. I apologize. To them, it was just like, say, you goofball or something else. It was just something that they used in jest. So I always try to assume ignorance before I assume malice. And in some cases there is malice, but being hateful or aggressive in return isn't going to address that malice. So I am glad that there's a movie that does address that. I'm glad that you got to share that with your family. I really hope that it opened conversation for you guys to be able to talk about mental health. But I would really encourage you to look differently at how or why, at the intent of the other person, because it might not be there. And even if it is, and they do have, I wouldn't say self-entitlement as much as perhaps they're struggling with their own self-esteem. Perhaps they have their own inner challenges, because if someone is name calling in a malicious way, then they're also struggling. So we don't want to attack other people in that sense. Oh, Pastor Dean, he is here. Hello. Got a couple more going here. Could be gayer. I love it. Says, hi again, love. I cleaned my entire room all by myself. Yes. You couldn't even see the floor when I started, and now you can. Also, it was my 1-year anniversary on the 28th. Hope you're doing well. So happy anniversary, and big snaps to you for finding the energy to clean your room and being able to flourish in a healthier environment when we clean up like that, which is also another thing.
that talk about in the Happiness Boost course is the importance of our environment, how that can affect our mental health, and tangible things to do to be able to address that, especially if you are struggling mentally and you're just not feeling motivated, you don't feel like you have the energy. That's something that I talk about, that I bring up. And it comes into cutting the crap, which is one of my 5 puzzle pieces of happiness. But I think that's amazing. And I know that you just feel so much better in that room now. So I'm very happy that you were able to find the time and energy to do that. And I hope that the room is just more comfortable for you now, more comforting for you now. So big snaps to you. Oh, goodness. I should not be. Oh, was that it? That was it. Does anyone else have any other wins that we would like to share? That was some good snaps. Thank you, guys. I'm very proud, and I feel like the wins always kind of raise the vibes of the community and raise the vibes of the stream. So I'm glad that we could do that. I'm glad that we're going to have some good pledges this week to be able to go and do some outreach. Don't think though that just because we met the requirement that we have to stop, or not the requirement. Who am I kidding? The goal. We reached the goal that we can't do more good. So I really do appreciate it. I really, really do. Oh, Erin's late. You missed the song. You have to give a win now, Erin. You have to share a win so we can share your win too. But thank you. I will sing for you later. I will sing the Snaps Cup song privately for you later. It's my soap opera face working. Bryston went to California with his dad last week, or 2 weeks ago now. Almost. He went to California with his dad, and he sent me a picture. He had his dad send me a picture where he's looking out the hotel window, just longingly thinking of me, because in soap opera world, the one person will look longingly out the window, wistfully, and then the other person will look in the opposite direction, and it will split screen on the TV, so it looks like they're looking at each other. Well, Bryson sent me a picture like that from his hotel room. So I sent him a picture back of me reversing the split screen before. I'm looking the opposite direction so we could split screen, but it just cracks me up that he knows that, he realizes that. Or one of my other favorites was, there was a scene, and it was supposed to be this very sensual scene, but these 2 characters were saying "I love you" for the first time, and the male character is "I love you," and he just raises his eyebrows so exaggeratedly, and Bryston now will just come to me and go, "I love you, Mom." Or he's picked up the little mannerisms of the different characters. So the one character, Ridge, somebody will ask him a question and he'll just look and then kind of tilt his head, and it's hysterical because now Bryston will mimic that, and it's cute, and he knows that it's not serious. He knows that that's not really what relationships are supposed to look like. That's not a healthy way to interact with people. He recognizes these things, so he is hitting the maturity level of where he can do these things. But I have always found his desire to be involved in my soap opera very charming. When he was probably about 5, I remember there was a scene where the one character, Ridge, got dumped out of a plane, and I was talking about that scene on the phone with a friend of mine who also watched the show, and Bryson must have overheard, because he comes in a little bit later and goes, "Mama, is Ridge okay?" He was so worried. It was so cute. And there was a scene where 2 of the characters got in a fist fight, and Bryson was sitting watching with me and started crying and going, "Oh my God, Thomas is such a, can I say it, Mom?" And he's just so emotional and so crying. And I said, "Okay, honey, you can say it." He goes, "Thomas is a bitch." And I just, he was just so caught up in it. It was so adorable. So it's become good bonding time. Erin says, "My win of the week, I get to have the Snap Cup song sung to me privately." Oh, well, the Patreons a few months ago got my rendition of Quit Playing Games with My Heart, because David had pledged for me to do a 90s rendition of the Snap Cup song. So I did a rendition to the tune of Quit Playing Games with My Heart, where it's keep putting snaps in the cup. And so you know, special privileges. What's the matter? Do you want to go outside? Do you want to go out? There you go, Dodger. That's Dodger. Oh, now you guys get to see that I'm wearing yoga pants right now. I'm not wearing classy jeans or something. I'm in my yoga pants today because I'm going to do yoga after this. So you guys got to see, you caught me. I'm busted that I was not wearing jeans or something styling. Aaron, you deleted a message. Excuse me? You can't delete messages in here. Oh, and David says, come on, Amanda, you are Aaron Butler's wing. You guys are adorable. I was born in 69, so remember the 70s, 80s, and 90s. I was born in 2000. Let's see. In my head, it is not 2023. In my head, 2000 doesn't sound like it was that long ago. So I'm starting to get that mentality. Oh, David says, over 7 months straight now, I still do my yoga every night. Well, snaps to David. You didn't have a snap. You didn't have a win this week. So snaps to David for doing his yoga every night. I did yoga every day last year. That was my goal for last year. And I did it. And I loved it. But sometimes it was, oh my God, I don't want to do this right now. And I kind of had to force myself. And it broke a lot of limiting beliefs. Yoga pants require some yoga moves, Metal Mark 12 said. Is that the pledge for today? Are people going to be pledging for me to do yoga poses? I will do yoga. I will do yoga for some pledges for sure. Rick James says, I don't do yoga. I do yoga. The only healthy thing I do. Well, yoga isn't always about the asanas, which are the postures. It's also about the mindset. So the whole point of yoga isn't contorting yourself into a pretzel. It's being able to be present while you're moving your body and respect the boundaries. So instead of trying to push yourself into this pose, yes, you're pushing yourself a little bit so you can meet that edge, but you're also having grace for yourself that you might not look like the person on Instagram. And there are so many benefits for it. Like it expands your lungs. It helps relax you. It engages the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest system. So there's a lot of benefits of yoga, and you don't really have to be doing down dog or back bends or anything crazy. You can just do simple stretches, simple poses. You can do child's pose. You can just do a simple warrior and feel like a warrior while you're doing it. So there's a lot of benefits to yogurt. Did I just say yogurt? There are many benefits to yoga. There are not as many benefits to yogurt, especially the yogurts on the market nowadays. I do have cashew yogurt, which has probiotics in it, but the yogurts on the market nowadays are gross. But yoga, there are many benefits of yoga. See what you did to me? See what you guys do to me and get me all tongue-tied. Warrior Poet says, yogurt isn't so bad though. It kept Michael Weston alive. I was not going to make the burn notice connotation, but thank you for that. Yes, Michael Weston thrived on yogurt while doing his spy missions and stuff, which is actually pretty brilliant because it does have protein. It does have the probiotics and stuff, so it can provide a lot in that sense. But yogurt nowadays is so full of sugar and in a lot of case additives and dyes and all sorts of other garbage. So if you're just eating plain yogurt, then there are benefits to it, or cashew yogurt or things like that. But man, those little strawberry Yoplait and stuff, it's toxic sludge. The sunglasses helped him too. Fun story. I'm going to flex my knowledge here. So those sunglasses are Oliver Peoples size 55 with cognac polarized lenses. And I know that because I ended up getting a special pair made for my ex because we were really into burn notice. So yeah, I know way too much about Michael Weston's glasses. So I had to coordinate with Oliver Peoples themselves, with the design house to get a pair of those made. So yeah. I don't do yoga or yogurt. And Zakine says, wow. RMC says, I like the New York. Thanks. Yeah, I waxed some of my hair off for summer. It was getting kind of crazy. So I decided to switch it up a little bit. Thanks for noticing. Oh, goodness. Duolingo is yelling at me because it is 10:49 and I haven't done my Duolingo lesson yet. calm down, duo. It's okay. My phone was there from doing the win or doing the good news, and now my phone is buzzing and Duolingo's going, hey, you haven't done your lesson yet. And I'm just waiting for somebody to make a horror spoof of Duolingo where the little owl is, you haven't done your lesson yet today. It's just standing outside your window with a knife or something. Like, do your French lesson, Amanda. Or I totally see some weird distorted version of Duolingo owl tying someone up and putting a gun to their head and saying, beg for your life in Spanish, you know? Yeah, Duolingo can be like the overly attached ex-girlfriend. David asks, how is the mouth post-stitches? You know, it's finally healing. So yeah, I ended up having to get dental surgery, which required stitches. And half of the stitches ended up getting pulled out. And it was excruciating. I went to the dentist. I was legitimately crying. I went to the dentist in tears and said, I need you to shoot my mouth up right now. I need you to shoot my mouth up with something. I can't do this. And he prescribed me some stuff. And I said, no, you need to shoot my mouth up right now. I can't go until I can get a prescription to manage this. And I was taking a little bit more than the max amount of Tylenol. I never take stuff like that unless I'm really, really, really in pain. And I certainly never take that much of it. But I was maxing out what I was supposed to be taking, and it still wasn't doing anything. I had ice, I tried heat, and I was in so much pain. And that's why there was a little bit longer of a lag between videos. And even then, my mouth was still super swollen when I shot the Megadeth one, and I was still kind of sore, but it's a lot better now. So I had the stitches removed, and I got some pain management stuff, and it's doing a lot better now. Thank you. But yeah, it was brutal. So I basically got an infection in one of the roots of a tooth that I'd had a root canal on many years ago now. I had a root canal on a tooth, and one of the roots got infected. So they had to go in, remove the infection, and then solder the end of that nerve, and then stitch it up. So everything is good now. Teeth are hopefully beautiful. I can actually smile. There were several days where I couldn't smile at all. This is about all you got. And so I felt like someone who had had way too much face work done, and I just couldn't make facial expressions anymore. Bye, Casca. Bye, Corey. Or Ogdog, not Corey. Ogdog. Oral pain is the worst, and that's coming from someone who's had kidney stones. I've had kidney stones. My son, his labor took 24 hours. I had no pain management whatsoever. I tell you, I have a pretty high pain tolerance. I don't typically turn to painkillers, to anesthetics, to opioids, to anything like that. But yeah, when my teeth hurt, I would do anything. I would shank a man to make that pain go away. I was just sitting there thinking, if this dentist does not shoot something into my mouth, I'm going to strangle him. But fortunately, he was very understanding and shot up. Even that hurt. Even when he was doing the injections, that hurt. So we have about 10 more minutes if you want to get in any last questions, pledges, anything like that, comments. We have about 10 more minutes, so I want to make sure everybody gets in what they want to get. Zach says you can't function or push through oral pain. It's debilitating. It's true, because usually if say I gash my foot, like the other day, I was opening the fridge, and one of my glass little Tupperware containers, it's not actually Tupperware, but one of my glass food containers fell out and hit the top of my foot so hard that it broke the container. And this is thick glass container. It broke the container and gashed my foot open on top of my foot. So I am bleeding everywhere. I'm screaming for Aaron to come do something, because my foot is just bleeding everywhere all over the floor. And I don't want to go try and find bandages because I don't want to leave a trail of blood through the house. So I'm screaming for Aaron. I have the dish towel, which is probably not sanitary at all, but I have the dish towel on my foot, trying to stop the bleeding. And even that was just, okay, it hurts, but it's okay, we're going to stop the bleeding, and then I could breathe through it. It wasn't, oh my God, I need medication or anything. It was, I'll stop the bleeding, make sure it's safe, and then breathe through it. But this tooth pain was horrific. It was so bad. Warrior Post says, my teeth were cut off this summer a decade ago. That was a painful experience. Meds and Borderlands 2 on Xbox 360 with friends was all it kept me going that summer, I bet. Metal Mark says, I had kidney stones. It's not fun. I passed it with a couple of Vicodin, thankfully. I had kidney stones a long time ago, and I refused to take narcotics or anything for it because they were trying to get me to take heavy narcotics. And not only do I have a history of addiction, so I try to avoid those as much as possible, but they can also give me panic, anxiety, dissociation, things like that. So I managed to do it with, I think, a Tylenol or something, but it was not a pleasant experience. It was definitely in the top 5 most painful experiences of my life. Alkin, hi, sweetie. How are you? I'm so happy to see you. I'm so happy to see you. David's happy to see you too. I'm glad you're here. I would like an update, whether you message me or share here. I want an update on how you're doing because I haven't heard from you in a while. CP368 says, my mom was, I think, 36 hours in labor for me. Can't remember. It was extremely long. Eventually, they had to use the vacuum. I know what you mean, but just the visual. Just the visual of the doctor just looking at the janitor and saying, yo, we need some help. And the janitor pulling in an actual like Kirby vacuum. Oh, there's my laugh for the day. That was great. I know what you mean. I know they have an actual suction machine, but oh gosh. Our senior says, I see, not seen. Did I miss a post? Oh, water peroxide rinsing stops toothache instantly. I tried peroxide. There was another mixture I tried. I don't remember what the other one was, but I tried another mixture too. If I missed a post, I'm sorry. Like I said, it gets crazy in here. So if the posts aren't highlighted, I tend to not see everything. Creel, hello. Alkin says, it's hard to be at home after 5 months in a clinic. Yeah, I understand. Acclimating back to our normal routines and stuff can be very difficult. Hopefully we'll see you in some of the Zooms or something soon so we can get back into some kind of normalcy. We can help you get back into some kind of normalcy and support you. I miss you too. Like David said, I miss you as well. So just take it slowly, just start with your routines that you missed, that you enjoyed, and kind of start trying to incorporate those back in, and then get back into the ones in your own time that weren't maybe quite as enjoyable. CP368 says, I just didn't want to come out in the rest of my life. I wished I hadn't. I was probably happier in there. I might have known ahead of time how much torment life was going to be. Come out in the sense of come out of the closet, or maybe I missed another post? I'm sorry that you feel like you can't be who you are in whatever sense that is. I'm not sure the context here because I must have missed a message, but I'm sorry that you feel like you're surrounded by people who don't allow you to be who you are, and I hope that you can find new communities where you can feel more welcome and feel like you can be more yourself. We've had quite a few people here in the community who have come out in the community as gay or trans or lesbian, and have been really, have felt a lot of support with that, and have felt very loved and wanted. And I think a lot of people that have come out about obviously their mental health and stuff and said, hey, I've never shared these struggles before, here's what I'm going through, have gotten a lot of support too. So we should never have to hide who we are. Kai says, nice to be here. Well, nice to have you here. Oh, come out of the womb. Okay, got it. Well, I still think that kind of holds true, that you feel like you haven't been able to, be yourself and acclimate. I was thinking come out of the closet. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry that you feel that you haven't got to partake in life and find your joy. And I think that I was in a very similar boat for a long time, where I remember many times thinking, I wish that I wasn't here. I wish that my mom would have never had me. I wish that I just didn't exist. But there is another side to that, and it does take work, and sometimes it's a matter of trying and then trying again and then trying a different thing and trying a different way. But everybody deserves to have joy, and it is attainable for everyone. And it's never, ever, ever too late to start the healing process and start reaching for that. So I hope that you will join us on that journey and on that process, so that you will be standing where I am, seeing, wow, yeah, I spent all these years in situations that weren't good for me, with people that weren't good for me, and now I see the other side, and I know not everyone, does the work and goes through the things they need to get here. But that's why I have this community. That's why I have my course. That's why I have so many different things, is because I just want everyone to see that it is attainable. That's why I lowered the price of the course. It's just because I wanted everyone to be able to to be a student, to be able to get that training and teaching and stuff. So I really hope that you do get there. I hope we can help you get there. Rick says the true soldier fights not because he hates what's in front of him, because he loves what is behind him. Yeah. Being my CP368 says, being myself is part of why I have had a hard life. I have never conformed to the norm, never cared about what was popular. See, I tried for a long time to care about what was popular, and I tried to be what everyone else wanted me to be, and I found myself really miserable. So once I could break free from that, yeah, it is a lot more liberating. But when you're around people that don't accept it, that can tear you down. And not everyone's going to. I mean, I am definitely anything but normal. I don't think a single person on this planet would use the word normal to describe me, and I'm proud of that, because I don't want to follow the norm. I've seen the norm. I don't want to keep up with the Joneses or the Kardashians or whoever we're keeping up with these days, because I've seen what it does to those people. I want to be me, and if my dad always said, if you don't like my badass attitude, don't talk to me. And I kind of feel that way. If you don't like who I am, when I'm more emotionally susceptible, when I'm more outgoing, when I'm more vibrant, when I'm more creative, whatever the case is, if you don't like that, then bye, Felicia, there's the door. I don't have time for people like that anymore. So I really try to make sure that my circle is full of people who are also freaks. So if you're in my circle, it means that you're a freak too. But that's a good thing. I feel like for a lot of my life, I was called a freak and a nerd and an outcast and all of these terrible things. I was called ugly, and I was always told that I wasn't good enough, always made to feel that I wasn't good enough. And then finally I just said, yep, I'm a freak. I'm a freak, and you're not keeping me on a leash anymore. CP368 says, I haven't had a haircut since I was 8, didn't go to public school, didn't have any interest in normal activities. You know what? You fit in just fine here. And Warrior Poet has a good point. What's normal now? There really is no definition of normal. There's societal norms, cultural norms, and expectations, but there's no real true normal. We all have our quirks. We all have our differences. Being a freak is beautiful. I agree. Kai says we can all find reason to be here and live. Yeah. And sometimes, like I said, it takes some healing, and that can be work. And that can sound exhausting when you hear the word work, but I try through the community, through the videos, through my course, I try to make the work fun. I try to help you guys in an engaging way that isn't me putting on my little glasses and putting my hair up in a bun and sitting on the couch and saying, how does that make you feel? Well, it makes me feel like crap, and that's why I'm in a therapist's office. It's always what I want him to say. When they always come in, you start talking about your problems to a therapist, and they go, well, how does that make you feel? Or my personal favorite was, my dad was in the hospital, and the nurse woke him up to give him a sleeping pill and then asked, how are you feeling? And I remember being a kid and thinking at the time, well, if he felt great, he wouldn't be in the freaking hospital, So I just always kind of laughed at that. Oh, that's full cardigan and clipboard. Yes, it is. Jake Smith is also, I can't deal with having a consumer mindset either. Obviously I am a consumer to a certain degree, but I don't like to have that mindset. Alkin says, I'm trying to get back to my hobbies, but I feel numb. I'm also seeing my friends again, but I'm wearing a mask again. If I don't stay stable at home, they said to come back to the clinic. Well, I'm glad you have that safe place to go where people can continue, caring for you and stuff. I hope that they were helping you through some of these things while you were there so that you can implement them now that you're out. And it does feel fake for a while. I think the important thing is when you are seeing your friends and stuff again, that you are being honest and saying, hey, I'm struggling and I might not seem like myself, and giving clear expectations of what you want from them or what you want to do or how you want to interact. Just kind of giving those expectations. It actually makes it a lot easier on us on the receiving end when we know how to help or what to do. If they're true friends, they will listen to that. But hobbies, when you're coming out of a episode of depression, hobbies can feel very perfunctory, where you're just, I'm going through the motions of doing this and I just really don't care. But making sure that you're doing the things that you once enjoyed, or that even if you want to try something new that you might enjoy now, take time for that, but don't force yourself to do too many things at once, because trying to go all back in at once can overwhelm you and burn you out really fast. Would you like to share Nikki's win, Dean? I will read it for the community. I just don't want to overstep, so I want to make sure that I'm sharing exactly what you want me to share and not anything more, or what she wants me to share and not anything more. Zach's right. Anything you enjoy is worth doing and not a waste of time. I have certain hobbies and habits and things that don't serve a bigger purpose. They're just something that I like to do. So that is definitely something to just reflect on and incorporate. It doesn't have to have a bigger goal. It doesn't have to appease other people. It's just important that you're actually enjoying it and that you're not using it to escape. So if you're binge watching shows or you're playing games for 9 hours a day as a means to escape, then that can become problematic. Oh, Coda says, this is my first mental health live stream. I know I've got problems in my head. I know. Hello, Coda. We all have problems in our head. So welcome to the community. If you'd like to share, feel free. Unfortunately, we're about to wind down, or we are winding down, so we only have a few more minutes, but welcome. I hope you'll catch the next one. If you subscribe and watch the community tab, it will tell you the date and time for the live streams, but they're every 2 weeks. They're every other Friday. Skinny says, hello, everyone. I have a question. What I have to do, I hate being with people because I truly hate myself, over controlling myself, every word, every action, and hate being alone. Okay, so let's break that down. This will be the last question that I do. Let's break that down. I'm actually really proud of you for recognizing that you hate being with other people because you hate yourself, because a lot of people don't recognize that. And the good news with that is just the recognition of that means that you can address it. So when you're addressing, I hated myself for years and I still struggle sometimes with certain aspects of myself, but I hated myself most of my life. And I think that for me, it was saying, okay, for me to love myself, I have to know who I really am, for one, because I was so far under, I was like 6 feet under all this gunk that people had told me of who I was, because I was saying, okay, well, this person says I'm supposed to wear these clothes, so I guess I'm supposed to wear these clothes. Or this person says that I'm supposed to have these interests, so I guess I'll have these interests. Or I would beat myself up over my mistakes, right? I would beat myself up because I did something that I wasn't proud of, or I fell into addiction, or whatever the case was. And I just came to hate myself because I said I was so weak I became an addict, or I was so weak that I became depressed for so many years, and I was self-harming, or I am not wearing the right clothes, or whatever the case is. So when I started addressing that self-hatred, for me, it was, okay, first and foremost, I'm going to start kind of making a list of who I really am. And I might share that over on Instagram, because I just started doing a bullet journal project for my Instagram. And I made this list of just, here's 50 facts. I was inspired by Matthew Santoro videos that I used to watch a lot. And he started making content again, so I've been watching here and there. But 50 facts about myself. And this can just be, this is what I believe, or this is what I like, or this is what I prefer. And once I could do that, I could say, okay, this is me. And now how do I deal with these thoughts? And it comes back to those limiting beliefs of figuring out, okay, what are my beliefs that are causing me to hate myself? So if the belief is, I was weak because I fell into addiction, right? Then the counter belief would be, I'm strong because I overcame addiction, and repeating those to yourself as they come up. But also, if you break down why, and I guess this kind of goes hand in hand with limiting beliefs, but if you break down, what is it about yourself that you hate? What is it about other people that you love? So what is it that you think makes you unlovable, and not just I'm depressed or I'm a loser? It has to be very specific reasons of, this is why I feel like I'm not good enough. This is why I feel like I am not lovable. And then some of those things, as you write them down, you can counter that. So if you say, I'm a loser, well, here's the ways I'm a winner. And it might take a while to think of things because you're so used to being in that negative mindset, but combat those things. But then there's the things also, when you're making that list, that you can say, well, I dress like a schlub. I mean, you probably don't. I didn't either. But it's okay, if that's a reason I'm hating myself, what can I do to change that? Would I feel more confident in other clothes? Would I feel more confident with a different hairstyle? So breaking down why and then addressing those things. That's my suggestion. Thank you, David. David shared 2 videos for self-worth here in the community. Thank you for that. I will give you guys a chance to open those videos. I have to get going, unfortunately, so I'm sorry for the people that just came in, but if you didn't get your question answered, I will be back in 2 weeks, and I believe in 2 weeks we're going to have another guest, so I like to bring other people on to give different perspectives and stuff from different life stories. So I think in 2 weeks we're going to be having a guest, so that will be exciting. But in the meantime, you can always post questions on the community page under the wins and stuff, and I will try to get to them there, or preferably I just address them in the next stream. So if I do see questions over there, I'll save them for the next stream. But thank you guys so much for helping me reach my goal so quickly. I'm excited at all the people that we're going to be able to help in the next 2 weeks. So I'm excited to tell you guys who we find and who we help as a community. I love and appreciate you so, so much. I hope that you all have an amazing week. And as always, the community is here. My email is there. If you are really in crisis, I always link the suicide hotlines by country in the comments, but you're never alone. You always have support. I'll see you in a couple weeks. I love you. Mwah.